Dad demanded $150,000 for raising me and wanted me to fund my golden child sister who got everything. So I told them my dying mom confessed that she's not his biological daughter and proved it with DNA tests. When I was growing up, it was obvious to everyone who the golden child was in my family. My sister, Amelia, could do no wrong in my dad's eyes. If she got a C in school, it was the teacher's fault. If I got an A, it was because I wasn't doing enough extracurriculars. My dad would brag about Amelia's dance recitals like she was the next prima ballerina while dismissing my academic achievements as nerd stuff. I can't say it didn't bother me, but after a while, you just learn to deal with it. Or at least I thought I had. Let me paint you a clearer picture of what growing up was like. Every morning before school, Dad would make Amelia these elaborate breakfasts, French toast, fresh fruit arrangements, the works. Meanwhile, I'd be lucky if there was any milk left for my cereal. When report cards came out, my straight A's would get a nod while Amelia's C+ in English somehow warranted a celebratory dinner because she really tried her best. Even during Christmas, the presents under the tree told the same story. Amelia would get mountains of carefully wrapped gifts, while I'd usually end up with practical stuff like socks or school supplies. The favoritism got even more obvious after Mom got sick. I was 16, and Amelia was 14 when Mom was diagnosed with aggressive breast cancer. Those last 2 years of high school were brutal. While I was juggling AP classes, a part-time job at the local library, and helping take care of Mom, Dad was constantly focused on making sure Amelia didn't get too stressed by the situation. He even hired a private tutor to help her maintain her C average because she's sensitive and needs extra support. Meanwhile, I was staying up until 3 a.m. studying after spending hours helping Mom with her medication and cleaning up around the house. Mom passed away during my senior year, just 2 months before graduation. I remember Dad barely acknowledged my valedictorian speech because Amelia was having a really hard time and needed his attention. She ended up skipping the ceremony entirely, claiming it was too emotional for her, and Dad stayed home with her instead of watching me graduate. That one hurt more than I like to admit. The college years were a whole other level of unfair. Despite having a college fund set up by Mom before she passed, which mysteriously disappeared, Dad claimed it was used up by medical bills. I had to scramble for scholarships and student loans. Meanwhile, Dad somehow found money to send Amelia to an expensive dance academy in New York for a summer program, which she quit after 3 weeks because the vibe wasn't right. That program cost more than my entire freshman year tuition. I worked my butt off in college, full course load, dean's list every semester, plus 2 part-time jobs. One at the campus library during the day and another waiting tables at night. I lived off ramen and coffee, sharing a tiny apartment with 3 other girls to save money. During this time, Amelia was living at home, rent-free, finding herself through various expensive hobbies that Dad happily funded. There was the pottery phase, complete with a $2,000 wheel that's now collecting dust in the garage, the photography period, Dad bought her a professional grade camera, and let's not forget the brief stint as a professional food critic, which mostly involved Dad paying for expensive restaurants. After graduating summa cum laude, I landed an entry-level position at a consulting firm. The starting salary wasn't great, but I was determined to make it work. I lived in a sketchy studio apartment, took the bus everywhere, and brown-bagged my lunches. Every spare dollar went toward paying off my student loans or building my emergency fund. Meanwhile, Amelia was on her 5th career change, this time deciding she wanted to be a yoga instructor. Dad, of course, paid for her certification, equipment, and even rented a small studio space for her, which she used for exactly 3 months before deciding she wasn't feeling fulfilled. The thing is, I didn't even mind their dynamic that much anymore because I'd created my own life. I had good friends, a growing career, and my own space. I kept my distance from family stuff, showing up for major holidays with a generic gift card and leaving before the drama could start. It worked for everyone, or so I thought. Over the past few years, I've really hit my stride professionally. Through a combination of hard work, strategic job moves, and some lucky breaks, I worked my way up to senior consultant. I managed to pay off my student loans early and even began building a decent investment portfolio. For the first time in my life, I felt financially secure. I'm not flashy about my success, I drive a used Honda, live in a modest but nice apartment, and my biggest splurge is probably my weekly therapy sessions, which, honestly, have been worth every penny. But I guess word gets around, especially in the age of social media. The confrontation that happened last Saturday had actually been brewing for a while. A week before, I'd gotten some weird texts from Amelia asking about investment advice and whether I could help her start a business. I brushed them off with vague responses because I knew where that road led. Then Dad started calling more frequently, making odd comments about how successful children support their parents and sending me articles about family wealth management. So when they showed up at my door that Saturday morning, I wasn't completely surprised, just disappointed. Opening the door to find Dad and Amelia standing there felt like a scene from a bad movie. Dad didn't even wait for an invitation before pushing past me into my apartment. The first thing he did was look around and make a comment about how fancy my place was. It's really not, just a regular 2-bedroom apartment with IKEA furniture. Amelia flopped down on my couch like she owned the place, already scrolling through her phone. Then came the bombshell. Dad pulled out an actual spreadsheet. Yeah, he really did that, breaking down what he called my family obligations. He had calculated that I owed him roughly $150,000 for raising me. Apparently he'd kept receipts for everything from my childhood medical bills to school supplies. Plus, he wanted me to invest in Amelia's newest business idea, some sort of crystal healing spa concept that would only need about $75,000 to get started. The whole time he was talking, I could feel this weird calm settling over me. You know that moment in movies where everything goes quiet right before all hell breaks loose? It was exactly like that. I let him finish his whole presentation. I watched him show me his calculations, listened to Amelia chime in about how this was my chance to finally be a good sister, and heard Dad guilt trip me about how Mom would have wanted me to take care of the family. That's when I lost it. Really lost it. I started with the college fund, asked him point blank what really happened to Mom's savings. He stuttered something about medical bills, but I reminded him that Mom's insurance had covered most of those. Then I brought up every dance class, every expensive hobby, every time he'd chosen Amelia over me. I even pulled up my old student loan statements on my phone to show him exactly how much debt I'd had to take on while he was bankrolling Amelia's finding herself phases. But the real kicker? I had something I'd been holding on to for years, something Mom told me during one of our last conversations when the morphine had made her more honest than she'd ever been. She'd confessed that Amelia wasn't actually Dad's biological daughter. Apparently, while Dad had been away on a long business trip about 15 years into their marriage, Mom had a brief affair with someone from her office. 9 months later, Amelia arrived. The moment I said it, the room went dead silent. Dad's face turned this weird shade of purple I'd never seen before. Amelia just sat there, mouth open, phone forgotten in her lap. Then she started crying, not her usual dramatic sobs, but quiet, shocked tears. Dad started yelling, calling me a liar, saying I was making things up to hurt them. But I wasn't done. I pulled out my phone and showed them the email I'd saved from last year, my 23andMe results that I'd gotten done for health reasons, showing Amelia and I were only half siblings. I'd never planned to reveal this. It was Mom's secret to take to her grave, and I'd respected that for years. But something about their entitled attitude, the spreadsheet, the demands, it just broke something in me. I told them both to leave. Dad was still shouting, but Amelia just got really quiet and started pulling him toward the door. Before they left, she turned back and asked if I was sure about the DNA results. I just nodded. Ever since then, the situation has been intense. My phone's been blowing up with texts and calls from both of them and random family members who've heard various versions of what happened. Dad's been telling everyone I'm lying to get out of family obligations, while Amelia has gone completely silent on social media, a first for her. I've blocked most of their numbers and social media accounts. I'm sitting here in my apartment, alternating between feeling guilty about spilling Mom's secret and feeling relieved that everything's finally out in the open. Part of me wonders if I should have just written them a check to make them go away, but I know that wouldn't have solved anything in the long run. Did I go too far? Should I have just kicked them out without saying anything? I've been carrying this secret for so long, and maybe it wasn't my place to tell it. But watching them waltz into my home, demanding money like they were entitled to it, after years of favoritism and emotional neglect, I just couldn't hold it in anymore. Am I the one who messed up here? Update 1, you guys, first off, thank you for all the support on my original post. I'm still trying to process everything that's happened in the last 48 hours, and let me tell you, it's been a roller coaster. I honestly thought the worst was behind me after I dropped that bombshell, but it turns out the fallout is just getting started. Amelia is still radio silent, which doesn't exactly shock me. She's never been the kind of person to confront things head on, especially when it comes to messy family drama. Avoidance has always been her go-to. That said, I did hear from one of our cousins recently, and, surprise, Amelia hasn't been totally quiet. She apparently reached out to them, and not to apologize or even try to understand my side of things. Nope, she's been venting about how unfair this whole situation is and how I ruined her life. Hearing that felt like a punch in the gut. I guess I shouldn't have expected anything else, though. It's easier for Amelia to paint me as the bad guy than to face the fact that this secret was bound to come out eventually. What hurt the most wasn't even the blame she's placing on me. It was when my cousin told me Amelia had said she doesn't think Dad will ever forgive her if he believes what I've said. That part hit differently. For someone who's had every ounce of Dad's attention, love, and support all these years, it feels like she's suddenly afraid of losing her golden child status. And then there's Dad. He's clinging to denial like it's the only thing keeping him afloat. As far as he's concerned, I'm some master manipulator who made this whole thing up to get out of helping them financially. That's his story, and he's sticking to it. It's frustrating because the claim is so absurd it would be laughable if it weren't so damaging. The worst part is, I can see why he's doing it. If he admits that this is true, he has to face the fact that Mom, the woman he loved and built a life with, betrayed him. He has to accept that his family wasn't the perfect picture he's always believed it to be. And that's a lot to handle. For a moment, I can almost feel bad for him. I mean, imagine finding out that the person you loved most in the world, who's now gone and can't defend themselves or explain their actions, kept such a massive secret from you. That kind of betrayal would be enough to break anyone. I get why he's angry and hurt, why he's lashing out. But then he takes all that pain and points it directly at me. He's running around, telling anyone who will listen that I'm selfish, heartless, and just looking for an excuse to abandon the family. That sympathy I might have felt? Yeah, it evaporates pretty quickly when he does stuff like that. And look, I've seen some of the comments people left on my original post, so let me address something. I do not condone what my mom did. Cheating is wrong, plain and simple, and I'm not here to defend her actions. But what exactly was I supposed to do when she told me the truth on her deathbed? Was I supposed to blow up the family while she was literally dying? Could you imagine the fallout from that? It would have been chaos, and frankly, I don't think anyone would have thanked me for it. And even after she passed, what options did I really have? By that point, I'd already been pushed to the fringes of the family. They didn't take me seriously then, so why would they have believed me if I'd spoken up? They'd have written me off the same way they're doing now, calling me a liar and accusing me of trying to stir up trouble. It's like I was set up to lose no matter what I did. I'm tired of being the scapegoat for everyone's feelings. I didn't create this situation. I didn't cheat. I didn't lie. I didn't ask to carry this secret for all these years. All I did was finally put the truth out there, and somehow, I'm the one who's ruined everything. It's exhausting. If Dad and Amelia want to keep blaming me for their pain, that's on them. I'm done trying to fix things or make them see the bigger picture. At the end of the day, I know I didn't do anything wrong, and that's what I'm holding on to. Let them twist the story however they need to make themselves feel better. I'm not playing their game anymore. Anyway, Dad wasn't done just yet. His reaction has been an absolute disaster. Over the last 2 days, he's cycled through every possible emotion. First, there was the denial. He sent me this flood of drunk texts accusing me of destroying the family with lies. Then came the anger. He started calling me from random numbers just to yell at me. When I blocked those, he switched to emails, which were just as aggressive. Then we moved on to bargaining. He actually said he'd forgive me if I admitted I made it all up. I didn't respond to any of it, which just sent him back into rage mode. He started calling extended family members, telling them I am having some kind of mental breakdown and not to believe anything I say. And now? Mostly silence. But of course, there's always something. He showed up at my aunt's house at midnight last night, drunk out of his mind, demanding to see old family photos. According to Janet, he spent hours comparing pictures of baby Amelia to pictures of himself as a baby, muttering about how he should have known because Amelia doesn't have his nose or his mom's red hair. It's like even in his denial, some part of him knows the truth. Janet said it was heartbreaking to watch, but I honestly don't know how to feel. The family, meanwhile, is a mess. My cousins are mostly staying out of it, which I respect. They've taken the none of our business approach, and honestly, good for them. Dad's siblings, though, are on the warpath. They're fully in his corner, calling me every name in the book and accusing me of tearing the family apart. Mom's side of the family, on the other hand, has been surprisingly supportive. A couple of them admitted they'd always suspected something was off but didn't say anything because they didn't want to stir up drama. And as if all that wasn't enough, I've had to deal with work drama too. My boss pulled me aside yesterday to ask if everything was okay because, apparently, my personal situation had made its way into office gossip. Turns out Dad had been calling my workplace, trying to get information about my salary and benefits. HR shut him down immediately, thank God, but the whole thing was mortifying. I don't even want to think about what my coworkers must think of me now. I've taken a few days off work to try to process everything, but it's hard to focus on anything when my phone keeps buzzing with messages from family members. I've muted most of them, but I don't know what else I could have done. As a precaution, I ordered one of those video doorbells just in case Dad decides to show up unannounced. I hate that it's come to this, but I need to feel safe in my own home. Despite everything, there's this weird sense of relief. It's like I've been carrying this massive weight for years without even realizing it. Don't get me wrong, I still feel guilty about how everything came out. I didn't want it to happen this way. But at the same time, I can finally breathe. For the first time in forever, I feel like I'm putting myself first, and it's overwhelming in the best way. So yeah, that's where things stand right now. I'm exhausted, emotionally drained, and still trying to make sense of everything, but I'm holding on to that small sense of freedom. Let's hope it lasts. Update 2. Things have been oddly quiet since my last update, and I'm not sure if that's a good thing or just the calm before another storm. Everything feels very still, like everyone's frozen in place, unsure of what to do next. I've blocked both Dad and Amelia, at least temporarily, because the constant flood of messages and calls was doing nothing but wrecking my mental health. For the first time in ages, my phone is quiet, and while it's a relief, it's also unsettling. I decided to tell my employer about the situation, just in case Dad or Amelia tried to cause problems at work again. Thankfully, my boss was incredibly understanding. They assured me that HR would handle any issues and that my personal life wouldn't affect my standing at the company. Still, it's humiliating to even have to explain this mess. I'd worked so hard to build a professional reputation, and now I'm left wondering if some of my colleagues see me as the girl with family drama. I've made a conscious decision not to engage with this drama unless it directly involves me. As tempting as it is to keep tabs on what everyone's saying or doing, I know it's not healthy. Taking a step back has given me some perspective, though. From the outside looking in, I can understand why both Amelia and Dad are struggling to accept this news. For Amelia, she spent her whole life being treated as the golden child, and now that pedestal is crumbling. And for Dad, finding out that your marriage wasn't what you thought it was, and that the child you doted on isn't biologically yours? That's a brutal reality to face. But understanding their pain doesn't mean I'm excusing their behavior. They're both adults, and at some point, they need to take responsibility for how they're handling this. Blaming me isn't going to change the facts. The rest of the family has also been unusually quiet, too. It's like everyone's waiting for someone else to make the next move. I did hear from Aunt Janet, who said Dad has been staying with her on and off. Apparently, he's still in denial, but he's also started going through old photo albums and asking questions about Mom's past. Janet thinks he's trying to convince himself that this isn't true while also searching for proof that it is. It's a weird limbo, and I don't envy him one bit. I also got a message from one of Mom's old friends. She apologized for not reaching out sooner and said she felt guilty for not speaking up years ago. She told me more about the man Mom had an affair with Amelia's biological father. He's still in our old hometown, living a quiet life as a university professor. He apparently had no idea about Amelia and probably still doesn't. Part of me feels like someone should tell him, but another part of me wonders if that would just make everything even messier. For now, I'm just focusing on getting through each day. Work has been a welcome distraction, and I've been leaning on my friends more than ever. Update 3. Hey everyone, I'm sorry for disappearing for a while. After everything that's happened, I decided I needed a break from all the chaos, and honestly, I've been trying to figure out where I stand in all of this. It's been a lot, but I think I'm finally starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. About a week ago, Amelia showed up at my apartment completely out of the blue. I hadn't heard a single word from her since the whole thing blew up, so to say I was shocked is an understatement. She looked like she'd been through hell. Her usual polished, Instagram-ready appearance was nowhere to be found. Her hair was a mess, her eyes were puffy and red like she'd been crying nonstop, and she had that exhausted, hollow look of someone who hasn't slept or eaten properly in days. Honestly, I almost didn't recognize her at first. When I opened the door, she just stood there for a moment, like she wasn't even sure she'd come to the right place. I didn't know what to expect, but the last thing I imagined was seeing Amelia in such a vulnerable state. She's always been the one who seemed so sure of herself, so confident. But this was a side of her I'd never seen before. Once I let her in, she kind of hesitated, like she wasn't sure if she was welcome. I didn't have the energy to argue or push her away, so I just motioned for her to sit down. For a few minutes, neither of us said anything. It was awkward, but I wasn't about to make the first move. Finally, she started talking, and let me tell you, I wasn't prepared for what she had to say. After going completely radio silent on me, Amelia had apparently thrown herself into uncovering the truth. She reached out to some of Mom's old friends, people I didn't even know she kept in touch with, and started asking questions. Through them, she managed to track down her biological dad. Hearing her talk about finding him was surreal. She told me about the moment she reached out to him and how he reacted. The guy had absolutely no idea she even existed. Imagine living your life and then suddenly finding out you have a grown daughter. She said he was completely shocked at first, which makes sense. I can't even begin to imagine what that would be like for either of them. Apparently, when they finally met in person, they ended up talking for hours. Amelia admitted to me that she had been in denial for a long time, convincing herself that this whole thing couldn't be true even when the signs were right there in front of her. Meeting her biological dad, though, changed everything. She said it made her realize that ignoring the truth wasn't doing anyone any favors, least of all herself. After that, she decided to talk to Dad about everything. According to her, that conversation was one of the hardest things she's ever done. She said Dad didn't yell or accuse her of anything, but he completely broke down. She described it as this raw, heartbreaking moment where all of his pain and confusion just came pouring out. He didn't say much, but she could tell he was devastated. She tried to explain to him that meeting her biological dad wasn't about replacing him or pushing him away. For her, it was about understanding a part of herself she'd been missing. She said she saw how much that hurt Dad, but she couldn't keep pretending anymore. Apparently, he just nodded and didn't say much. It was heavy, even just hearing about it secondhand. Her biological dad, on the other hand, seems eager to build a relationship with her now that the initial shock has worn off. Amelia seemed cautiously optimistic about it. She said it feels weird trying to connect with someone who's technically a stranger but also a part of her. I told her it's okay to take her time and not rush into anything. This is uncharted territory for both of them, and there's no right way to handle it. Then, a few days after Amelia's visit, Dad called me. It was a short conversation, but I could tell he wasn't in a good place. He said he knew about Amelia meeting her biological dad, and while he claimed to be happy for her, I could hear the disappointment in his voice. I think he feels like he's losing her, like this revelation has created a distance between them that can't be bridged. What really caught me off guard was when he said he's decided to move to Florida to stay at his parents' old house. He said he needs a fresh start. I didn't really know what to say, so I just kept it simple, okay and take care. The call ended pretty quickly, and I just sat there for a while, trying to process it. Since then, things have been eerily quiet. I haven't heard much from either Amelia or Dad, and honestly, I'm fine with that. After everything, I'm still waiting for an apology, something that acknowledges the years of hurt and favoritism, the way they both treated me like an afterthought. But at this point, I'm not holding my breath. I've realized that I can't force anyone to acknowledge the hurt they've caused me or to apologize for it. But what I can do is decide how much of myself I'm willing to give to people who don't seem to value me. And right now, the answer is, not much. That doesn't mean I'm cutting them off completely, at least not yet. But I'm definitely not going out of my way to reconnect. I've spent so much of my life trying to earn my family's approval, and now, for the first time, I don't feel the need to anymore. It's freeing, in a way. Life has been quieter since then. I've thrown myself back into work and started focusing on things that bring me joy. My kickboxing class has been a lifesaver. There's something about punching a bag that feels so cathartic after everything I've been through. I've also started journaling, which is something my therapist suggested. Writing down my thoughts has helped me process everything and let go of some of the lingering anger and frustration. To everyone who's been following my life story, thank you for your kind words, support, and even your tough love. You all helped me feel less alone during one of the hardest times in my life, and I'll always be grateful for that. For now, I'm focusing on myself and taking things one day at a time. I don't know what the future holds for my relationships with Dad or Amelia, but I do know that I'm finally prioritizing my own happiness, and that feels like a step in the right direction.